Well, we have some hot, piping, sizzling hot, breaking Richard Thomas news. John Boy Walton, who I think was a little before Brian and my time. I didn't really know the Waltons. I knew the face when you showed it with Linnell, but it didn't really mean anything to me.
It had a satisfying theme song.
I don't know it.
It would be the opposite of Gilligan's Island and Green Acres.
Wait, so the Waltons don't explain how they became the Waltons?
They do not explain about how they became the Waltons or
Family
Grandpa
tree.
Waltons or the show always depressed me because at the end they always ended each episode would end with an outside shot of the Walton farmhouse. They all lived in it. And you'd hear them go, "Night, John Boy. Night, Becky."
Night,
and they'd
Pa.
shut the light. "Night, Grandpa." And I thought, I don't think the Carollas are ever going to do that good night thing.
We have to be on the same roof.
That's right.
Here's the scintillating theme song from the Waltons.
After the series concluded, the set was destroyed.
We never saved anything back then.
Which is insane.
I know. It was like,
Fire sale.
"Elvis, are you done with that jacket?" "Yeah, I am." "All right, let me destroy it."
Burn it!
No one thought, we should put it in a shrink wrap and throw it in the closet.
Maybe this is a flaw on my part, but I've said it before. I never, ever, ever understand. In San Francisco, you'd see tourists all the time taking pictures of the Full House.
Right.
House. I'm making air quotes because it was the goddamn facade used in the opening. Nothing about the show had anything to do with San Francisco aside from like the opening couple of B-roll shots, them playing on like Fort Mason or something. It's like, you idiots! No one did any Tanner?
The Tanners.
Yeah, the Tanners were never in that house.
I'd love to
Yes.
agree with you, but I got excited when I found the Golden Girls house.
And let's not
that's
forget the
priceless.
Brady house, which is out here in
That's
Studio
also
City.
Never understand.
Where were the Partridge Family from? It's going to make Brian chuckle.
San Marin.
It's like San
Really?
Patillo or something. Like they made a name up that didn't exist, or maybe it does exist, but they were up north.
Oh, it's the fictitious city of San Pueblo, California,
San Pueblo.
said to be
Pueblos.
40 miles from Napa County.
Oh,
Beautiful.
San
beautiful.
Pueblo.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Will Gear was the grandfather?
Yes.
As in Will Gear Theater in Topanga? The Theatricum Botanicum? Don't act like you don't
That
know.
was a test and we passed.
Yeah.
That's the Will Gear Theater.
Will Gear was this old actor who was this sort of before the Wilford Brimley was
Right,
the de facto
right.
old guy who
Yeah.
played in every TV movie and everything when they needed the old guy. That was Will Gear.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
so
let me hit you with this hot news. So we're talking about John Boy, you know, the charming, very sweet, open-faced good boy on the Waltons. I watched the entire season of the final season of Ozark, which just came out, had no idea that was Richard Thompson playing Wendy Bird's father. And let me tell you,
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah.
playing against type, I grabbed a scene that really doesn't give too much of the plot away because this is sort of early. But let me just set it up for you. You tell me if this sounds like John Boy. The court has just sided with Laura Linney, Wendy's dad, who's Richard Thomas, that the kids should go live with him. He kind of blew into town and is kind of trying to take over. And he's not the cuddly grandpa that the kids think he is. This is Richard Thomas.
Daddy, please. Don't take them. Don't take them away from me. I will do whatever you want. I will do anything. Just tell me. Just tell me. Tell me what it is. What can I give you? Just tell me. Just tell me what it is you want. I'll give you anything.
Right.
Stop it, Whitney.
Please. Don't take them away from me. I will do whatever you want, please. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm sorry that I'm so hard to love. I don't mean to be. I'm sorry I embarrassed you. I'm sorry that I left home. I'm sorry, but please do not take my children.
I am not doing this to hurt you. I am just trying to keep my grandchildren safe.
Let me keep them.
he's Grandpa
Just don't
Walton
take them
now.
away from me, please. I will.
Oh, it gets
I will
worse.
Be so good. I'll do whatever you want. Just tell me what to do,
I
please.
want you to get up and stop making a fool of yourself, Wendy Marie. Nobody's falling for this anymore. When I am done, they are gonna know exactly what you are, and they are never coming back to you.
John Boy.
Man.
Asshole.
Yeah.
And he's fantastic in this show, by the way.
think he probably directed a bunch of TV shows and shit like that in the 80s and all that stuff.
Otherwise, it was quite a quiet time between the Waltons and Ozark.
I had some vague memory of him kind of going down the Richie Cunningham route.
Behind the camera.
He was a big star. He was a big young star on all these TV shows, and then at some point he just went away. And that usually means they just drift to the other side of the camera.
They're directing.
All right.
So anyway, he's alive and well. Some sad news, and I think the two of you might take this particularly hard. Fred Ward died. Just
How old
died.
was he?
79.
Wilford Brimley outlived him?
Yeah. Veteran actor. You know him from Tremors, The Right Stuff. Brian probably only knows this one. Robert Altman's Shortcuts.
Oh, yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
Really good.
Ward's rep, Ron Hoffman, told the Post that the cause of death...
Oh, his big movie was Remo Williams. That's right.
For some reason, I remember that on TV when we were like real little.
Yeah.
The rep said that the cause of death would not be revealed, but they did share his last wishes. Fred wanted any memorial tributes to be made in the form of donations to the Boston University Chronic Traumatic Encephalopathy Center. Not sure what the connection is, but yeah.
So that's the guy.
Charity of the day.
Yeah.
Man, when I saw John Barenthal, I was Bernthal. I was never more convinced that he was this guy's son than Fred Ward's son. I was just like,
clone.
He's got a son, and he's getting into acting, and there could be no other.
No convincing you otherwise.
No, I was. He looked. If you catch the right age, he looks exactly like Mike August, but he looked like John Bernthal, and I swore they had to be related.
Yeah,
and.
No,
not at all. Not related.
I mean, in that picture, they look identical. But I do think that there was a missed opportunity with not having Fred Ward and Charles Bronson in something together as like estranged brothers.
Well, Charles Bronson, some of the people kind of missed about Charles Bronson. He was jacked. Like he was just one of these guys that had that weird genetic hand where he had all the veins in his arms and stuff like that. He was built, and he was also... Charles Bronson to Fred Ward was sort of what Patrick Swayze's brother was. Don Swayze was to Patrick Swayze, which is Don Swayze looked more like Patrick Swayze than Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Looked like a cartoon character of Patrick Swayze. Yeah. And I would say that who are we just talking about? What's his name?
Charles Bronson.
Bronson looked like a cartoon version of Fred Ward. But Fred Ward had a very interesting look.
Oh, my God.
Good heavens.
We're looking at a picture.
Jesus, that's not real.
Of Charles Bronson. I don't know why the guy ever put a shirt on.
Fucking ripped like crazy.
I told you the guy was fucking jacked. It was just like, he was.
Like a Mr. Universe ripped.
Yeah, like I said, like we kind of remember him from Death Wish and some 80s movies and stuff.
Humble melon farmer.
He's like, Mr. Majestic.
Yeah.
It's a brick shithouse.
I told you, man. All right, sorry.
Another victory lap for
Gay
you.
trivia with Ace Carolla and his crystal brain.
Wow.
That's not funny.
We're looking at
it's accurate, though.
Katie Lang, Mike August, and Fred Ward, and they're all about the same person.
I'm sorry, but when we look at that, we really don't need Fred Ward.
Well, that was the whole thing. When I met my thing, some could call it a curse, is when I meet people, I assign them a person that they look like, and they're always surprised, mostly angered. But I didn't, Baby Doll Dixon and Mike August were a team out of New York, and at some point they came out to L.A. to represent me and Jimmy and Daniel and others. And as soon as I saw the two, I was like, Baby Doll Dixon's Karen Allen from
Indiana Jones.
And Animal House as well.
Yes.
Oh, is that Karen Allen?
Yeah, the one who, yeah.
You're Karen Allen and you're Katie Lang. And they both just looked at me.
They turned around, got back on the plane.
Talking about? And then we had to go find pictures where they looked exactly like Karen Allen and Katie Lang.
Feel free to say you don't know, because I don't think I want the answer to this question.
What do
but
you want to know?
Me and Brian.
Oh, here's the thing. It either hits or it doesn't hit.
Oh, thank Christ.
So I don't do it with everybody. I'm like one of those sweet spirit ladies.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I just kind of float around and I
Yeah.
go, what's going on with you? But I don't
getting an
point.
image.
I don't point at everybody.
Someone with a J.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it for Chris. I don't have it for Dawson. I mean, if you want to do it, then you go, oh, there's a guy with a hair and there's a beard and he wears glasses. But I'm just talking about
when it hits,
the person.
I gotcha.
I stay neutral, and when it hits, I say something.
When the glasses came into the picture for me and the hair went away, you get a lot of lazy, Moby or whatever glasses bald guy happens to be. Scott Van Pelt. I don't actually look like these people.
Mm-hmm.
When I had hair, I was younger and a little more weight. All the time. I had a stranger come up to me in San Diego, of all places, on a family vacation. You look just like Andy Kaufman. I'm like,
what?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I got
Wow.
that all the time from strangers.
See, the thing about
Some dude.
like the Moby thing's a cop out because
Yeah.
you're wearing glasses
Yes.
and you're bald and you're white. That doesn't
Yeah.
make you Moby.
Yes.
And it's funny because I never look at you and say you remind me of, but I've told you many times, if I'm at home watching John Oliver, I think of you. I think there's a similar vibe.
How goddamn dare you?
You're welcome.
Yeah, the real trouble with the naming of people was cousin Sal's son Archie, when he was 5, looked like Clint Howard.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you can't go a better looking version of it because all they hear is the name.
Yeah. So Ron Howard.
Well, I tried to clarify my statement by saying this is Clint Howard circa Gentle Ben when he was a young, cute, blonde kid, not the monster we know today is Clint Howard, right? It didn't work.
Yeah.
People were upset. The mom was upset.
Yeah.
I said, look, he's 5 and he looks like Clint Howard when Clint Howard was 5, but people didn't like that. It's like, he's got a mind like Adolf Hitler before World War II.
The genocide.
The painter.
The last time I tried that, 2006, with producer Angie, I said, early on when I met her, I'm like, you look like a pretty better looking version of Barbra Streisand. Didn't go over well. She didn't like that. I'm like, that's
I'd
true.
love that.
You preempted it with pretty better looking version.
I always say that. I always say the better looking version of, just to be safe.
Didn't go over well.
You look like the better looking version of Clint Howard. Yeah. See? It doesn't always work.
It's always an exception.
All right.
So Elon has us on our toes again. Now he's saying the purchase of Twitter is temporarily on hold. The billionaire shared the news in a tweet and said he's pumping the brakes on the deal because Twitter claimed that less than 5% of its users are spam or fake accounts. Musk is skeptical that number is low. Musk has said that once he takes ownership of Twitter, he wants to improve the platform. This is interesting. By authenticating all human accounts. News of the deal being put on hold caused Twitter share to dip 23% in pre-market trading. But this is not a bad thing. This is a good thing.
No, and it's due diligence. Like if somebody says, I want to buy your podcast, and you go, we have 10 million unique listeners every day. They got to go figure it out.
You can't mislead the shareholders.
It's going to affect the price.
That's right.
So if they say 5% don't have accounts, well, then they're saying a percentage of this number that we're presenting is not real people. And then, of course, it would behoove them to round down.
Right.
It would behoove whoever's buying it to round up because basically you're paying for every account.
Right.
So I'm sure he'd want to look into this.
Yeah, it's reasonable. So I don't know. This is I think one of our most tweeted at us stories, just because we were talking about it the other day. And yes, we will address it. After hearing hours of heated debate, the California Coastal Commission voted against the plan by the company Poseidon Water to build a huge desalination plant in Huntington Beach. Poseidon said the plant would be capable of producing up to 50 million gallons of drinking water, helping to make the region more drought resilient. Despite worsening drought and repeated calls for Newsom to tap the Pacific Ocean as a source of drinking water, commissioners voted unanimously against the plan Thursday night. They This would have been a $1.4 billion plant.
What's to say what their reasoning is?
I'm going to tell.
I'm going
to give you a little bit of that. Newsom, the governor, had said California needs the desalination plant to cope with extreme drought, and voting against it's a big mistake. Activists who called the proposal a boondoggle that would privatize water infrastructure for profit said the decision was a victory. So all of a sudden, it's going to fuck up their coastline, probably.
Well, so first things first, a couple things. First off, they hate this privatization of like private. Okay, the schools in LA and California, they're not private. The electricity's not private. The water's not private. Yeah. It's all a shit show. So the transportation, subways and buses, like many things are in the hands of the government and they're fucked 10 ways to Sunday. Why is this thing of like privatization? Why does that mean? Why is that connected with failure and
I don't know.
And
it worked for space.
Yes.
At least in LA, I can imagine it's the same elsewhere in big cities. Everything there is a public and private version of: schools, mail versus UPS, whatever it is. Uber versus public transportation.
Yes, Uber versus
the private version is always not a little bit better, a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, because it has to be. So Uber, and Uber versus taxis, but taxis they sell you medallions. It's very regulated as a sort of government entity. And then Uber comes around and goes, well, look, we got a business and we can't be, Uber couldn't have launched and been 10% better than cabs. Because people would go, I'm used to taking cabs.
Sketchy.
These guys are certified.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting. You need to be 86% better than cabs in order to launch a business. You have to be a lot better. And space, you're exactly right. Like, just create the competition. You need competition. The people who need the competition the most are the people that are running the business that has the market cornered on that business. They never improve. Why
would they?
Yeah, it's like, so what it is when you're playing high school football and there's some young buck who's trying to take your gig as tight end or middle linebacker, you up your game.
Yeah, now's not the time to lean back.
If the coach says you have a donut, your job's safe, you're always going to be in the starting lineup, you actually hurt the kid.
Yeah.
Even though the kid doesn't want to up the game, or it's painful, or it's 2-a-days, or running bleachers after practice, or hitting the weight room harder. But it is actually better for the people that have to now compete.
Yes.
So, but my thing, so the committee is 12 members. This is the Coastal Commission, 6 elected and 6 public figures appointed by the governor and the Senate Committee, Assembly Speaker, blah, blah, blah. So there's 12 people versus the millions of people who live in these areas who would like another abundant water source. And then there's the governor. This is sort of getting back to the teachers' unions. We have the schools should have been open. The parents wanted the schools open, but you guys wouldn't let it happen. So everyone had to stay home and get dumber. 12 people who've just independently decided, no, we're not going to do this thing. In the meanwhile, we're going to be there. I heard Garcetti talking about, if you see a neighbor and their sprinklers are going off, afternoon, then here's a number you can call. Like, because we don't have water. Yeah. We live in a desert. Can we just try to get some water? They have these plants in Israel. They have them in Europe. They have them everywhere. What's the deal? And then it's like, they're talking about the sea.
The plankton.
The plankton. Oh, look, if you're at a hearing and somebody is dressed up as a friendly piece of plankton,
it was great.
I'm voting against whoever decided to put the guy in the plankton outfit, number one, because it means you're not thinking straight. But also, I thought we were worried about the seas rising.
Well, that was the thing I didn't understand, because there was this list of things, but it was they really focused on the privatization of water. But that, because it's so vague, it said one of the other reasons they voted it down was because of rising sea levels, which seems counterintuitive. We have a solution for. I know what we can do with that water.
Well, if you hang out long enough, when I was a kid, we were talking about the Ice Age. It was the Ice Age was going to hit, and then that somehow shifted to global warming at a certain point. But yes, we're worried about raising
wouldn't we
sea
wanna-
levels.
Yeah. It's a nuclear winter. It's a
Right.
permanent summer. I don't know what's going
Well,
on.
this is
Anyway,
interesting.
there's 12
Yeah.
people. And so I heard, I think it was Michael Schellenberger, who's a very interesting guy. Maybe we'll get him on. I think he's running. He's going to run for governor as an independent. It's just a sort of logical guy.
Like a businessman or something?
He has no chance.
California's going to hell. Well, he's running as an independent. I don't know. He's making the rounds. He's a very thoughtful guy. And he's basically saying, and it was interesting, he said, there's kind of two kinds of environmentalists. There's the environmentalists who love the environment and want to preserve the environment. And that would be, I think we would all fall into that category. I like a nuclear power plant because it's a clean form of energy, but I'm for the environment, but we need energy. Then there's the environmentalists who don't like people. And they don't say we don't like people. They're just against everything that helps people.
So one loves the planet, the other hates the people.
They love the planet and they hate the
Oh.
people, but they're not really factoring in
The people?
the human part
Yeah.
of the edict can't be how do we save the environment? The edict has to be how do we have water and power and save the environment?
Right.
That's you have to factor that
Right.
part in. They don't factor that part in.
Right. Well, but don't worry. The Coastal Commission did agree that we do need to solve this. We do need to solve the problem, but we're just not doing this.
We'll talk for another 25 years,
Right.
and then we'll get to it. I
somebody
don't know.
else-
Do we need a Coastal Commission? Like I'm worried. It's 12 fucking radical people who are going to vote against anything we try to do that's near the coast.
That's funny you mentioned that. I don't know how much you've dealt with the Coastal Commission. I obviously have not at all in my life. I don't have coastal property. Christy's parents had a friend who died a year ago, older gentleman, 75, whatever. And he did a lot of, he had retired. He was like an architect or something. And he started doing a lot of work in Malibu, like, for the club, whatever they belong to. Anyway, point is, during the funeral, they said they made it a lighthearted joke, like, well, at least he doesn't have to deal with the California Coastal Commission anymore.
That's funny.
And everyone laughed. It's like, yeah, we all know how terrible they are. At the funeral.
the only way out.
Kevin Costner has big acreage in like Ventura, Oxnard, whatever, right? All against the gut. I told you, we went there with the family, stayed in the cabin, the trailer, and blah, blah, blah. It was magnificent. He's been trying to build something on his land that he pays taxes on, a home. This has been 20 years. Like, he can't do it. Suzanne Summers, when her house burnt down in Malibu, she moved. She's like, I don't
can't
have.
build this again.
Well, what happens when you're 68 years old? And
How many more years do you
you'd
wanna
like
spend?
to build your dream home,
Yeah.
but it's going to be tied up for 9 years. So you're going to be 77.
Yeah.
No, that's why people just move. But just the notion of we have a group of people that we have decided shall have dominion over the coast, and their default setting is no.
Mm-hmm.
If Kevin Costner wants to build a house, the answer is no. If Suzanne Summers wants to build a house, the answer is no. If they want to do a desalination plant, the answer is no. If Brian's friend, departed friend wants to do something, the Malibu Country Club, no. It's a group, it's a commission, except for their default setting is no. Now, you can have a commission, and you can have a commission that weighs the evidence and has thoughtful discussions and dialogue, but you can't have a commission who says their arms folded, and the answer is no.
Occasionally says yes.
Well, and didn't you
Right.
think it was kind of odd that it was basically unanimous?
Yes.
Like, it's not like an 8-3 vote.
They're all trained.
Yeah.
But why do we have 12 semi-radical people in charge of us getting water? Can't
answer that.
That's the crazy part. All right, let's bring it home. We got O'Reilly out there.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
Let me tell you about blindsgalore.com. For over 20 years, blindsgalore.com has made it easy to get custom blinds, shades, shutters, and drapery, hand-built from scratch, created just for your window and delivered right to your door. And you can do it all from your home. Just take the measurements and get the customized order online. Order up to 15 free samples. Use their online builder to see exactly what your shades are going to look like on screen. Look, it's getting hot. and the sun is coming in and it's heating up your bedroom, people, you got to get Blinds Galore. Keep that heat out. Blinds Galore's experts will help you every step of the way, either online or over the phone. Over 2 million windows covered. Whether you need more privacy to sleep or you want to cool down or just fix up a room, you go with Blinds Galore. Right, Dawson?
Get the designer blinds and shades you've always wanted without the designer price at blindsgalore.com. That's blindsgalore.com, and let them know Adam sent you.
If anybody ever travels outside of the U.S. and you go to the Middle East or you go to Mexico, anywhere, if you go into like a kind of a bazaar type place, please, Americans, just
Respectfully,
they expect it.
Yes,
But
yes.
then you do the math. By the way, you do the math in your head. Sometimes you're like, wait a minute, the dollar to the peso. Wait a minute, I'm negotiating over 33 cents.